This is devotional number 315, and today's date is August 25th, 2017. This week we've been looking at the phrase, fell on his face, and today we want to consider the example of David in 1 Samuel 20, 41 to 42. And as soon as the lad was gone, David arose out of a place toward the south, and fell on his face to the ground, and bowed himself 3 times. And they kissed one another, and wept with one another, until David exceeded. And Jonathan said to David, Go in peace, for as much as we have sworn both of us in the name of Jehovah, saying, Jehovah be between me and thee, and between my seed and thy seed forever. And he arose and departed, and Jonathan went into the city. In the historical setting, David is about to flee for his life, after learning of King Saul's intent to kill him from his dearest friend, Jonathan, Saul's son. However, in order to try to understand the spiritual dimension here, it will be helpful to think of David, whose name means beloved, as a picture of Christ, and Jonathan, whose name signifies Jehovah gives, as a picture of God the Father. It is quite evident they loved each other deeply, as 2 Samuel 1:26 maintains. I am distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan. Very pleasant hast thou been unto me. Thy love to me was wonderful, passing the love of women. This typifies the spiritual love and intimacy between God the Father and God the Son, and is symbolized by their tears and kisses. We also read in 1 Samuel 18:1 and 3. And it came to pass, when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. Then in verse 3, then Jonathan and David made a covenant because he loved him as his own soul. If we go to Psalm 89, 1-4, we find this beautiful portion here in the first 4 verses. I will sing of the mercies of Jehovah forever. With my mouth will I make known thy faithfulness to all generations. For I have said, mercy shall be built up forever. Thy faithfulness shalt thou establish in the very heavens. I have made a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn unto David my servant. Thy seed will I establish forever, and build up thy throne to all generations. Selah. Just as David bowed himself 3 times, it's significant that the Lord Jesus did so as well in Matthew 26, 39, 42, and 44. And he went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. He went away again the 2nd time and prayed, saying, O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, thy will be done. And he left them and went away and prayed the 3rd time, saying the same words. We also want to keep in mind that what was taking place there in the garden was a demonstration of what had occurred when he was under the wrath of God because he had become sin for his people. As Isaiah 53:10-12 outlines, referring to the atonement that took place at the foundation of the world. Yet it pleased Jehovah to bruise him. He hath put him to grief. When thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed, he shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of Jehovah shall prosper in his hand. He shall see of the travail of his soul, and shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he hath poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bare the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. Luke 5:12 through 13 also gives us another example of one who fell on his face. And it came to pass, when he was in a certain city, behold, a man full of leprosy, who seeing Jesus fell on his face, and besought him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. And he put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will, be thou clean. And immediately the leprosy departed from him. This historical parable has everything to do with salvation during the day of salvation, because all human beings are spiritual lepers prior to salvation. In fact, leprosy is a dramatic portrait of our spiritual deadness or sinfulness, as Isaiah 1:5 through 6 so graphically depicts. Why should ye be stricken any more? Ye will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick, and the whole heart faint. From the sole of the foot even unto the head there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores. They have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment. Psalm 77:2 also adds, In the day of my trouble I sought the Lord. My sore ran in the night, and ceased not. My soul refused to be comforted. Jeremiah 30, verse 12, explains the extent of man's spiritual depravity. For thus saith Jehovah, Thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous. The leper in Luke 5 illustrates our incurable condition and our desperate need during the day of salvation for the great physician, who alone could have answered our prayer for salvation. I will, be thou clean.